Look at the palms of your hands and realize that every single thing you are white knuckling right now, the person you can't imagine sleeping without, the career you've built your identity around, the very breath sitting in your lungs, is already gone. You are holding on to sand in an hourglass, and the sooner you stop trembling at the thought of it slipping through your fingers, the sooner you actually start living. Most of you are walking around like ghosts, terrified of the one thing that makes you human, the inevitable crushing weight of loss. You want the high of the peak without the vertigo of the cliff. But life doesn't work in half measures. If you want a heart that beats with purpose, you have to be brave enough to let it break. Because a heart that cannot break is a heart that was never truly alive. You aren't here to survive. You're here to burn. And burning requires a price. Grief is the price we pay for love. It's the ultimate transaction, the cosmic tax on a life well lived. We live in a society that treats sadness like a malfunction, a glitch in the system that needs to be patched, medicated, or scrolled away as quickly as possible. But I am telling you right now that it would be a tragedy if we weren't sad. To be sad is to show that it mattered. To feel that hollow, suffocating ache in your chest is the only way to prove to yourself that the time you spent was enjoyed, that the connection was real, and that the person or the moment was worth the space they occupied in your soul. This video isn't about learning how to love in some soft, romanticized way. It isn't about learning how to make love hurt any less. It's here to tell you to stop trying to avoid the pain and start appreciating the sheer, terrifying ability to feel it in the first place. Imagine for a second a life where you didn't have any emotions. Imagine you were just a sentient being, a biological machine moving through the world with nothing but the basic necessities to survive: drinking, eating, sleeping, and breathing. In that world, nothing would have meaning. Nothing would be created. There would be no art, no music, no legacy, and no reason to wake up other than to keep the machine running. Without the capacity for pain, joy becomes a flat, tasteless experience. If you learn to love the ability to have emotions, the capacity for both the highest peaks of ecstasy and the deepest, darkest valleys of despair, then the process and the journey of your life becomes infinitely more valuable. You aren't a victim of your feelings. You are the architect of a meaningful existence because of them. You have to realize that the meaning of life isn't a destination you reach. It's the depth of the ripples you leave in the hearts of others. And those ripples only happen when you hit the water hard enough to hurt. It is a beautiful sort of insanity to love anything in this world. Think about the logic of it. The dark reality about love is that it's the one thing you are guaranteed to lose. Everything you love will eventually be taken from you, or you'll be taken from it. There is no middle ground. There is no safe love. To love is to accept the inevitability that one day, this love will break your heart into a million pieces. And yet, we do it anyway. We throw ourselves into the fire of connection. Why? Because life is objectively better with love. It is the best thing life has to offer. At the end of the day, if you truly love something, when the time comes to have your heart broken, it will have been worth it. Every tear you shed is just a receipt for a moment of joy that was worth the price of admission. If you aren't willing to pay that price, you're just a window shopper in the mall of existence. There is a story of a couple facing the inevitable end of their time together. She looks at him and says, "I want to go first when we die." He starts to rebuttal. He starts to give her all the reasons why he can't possibly survive a day without her, but then he stops. He looks into her eyes and sees her fear, her vulnerability, her desire to avoid the cold silence of an empty home. So he gives up before he even tries to win the argument. He gently sighs and says, "Okay, you can go first." In that moment, he isn't being weak or submissive. He's making the ultimate sacrifice. He's choosing to endure the grief so she doesn't have to. They are both saying, "I love you," in the most profound ways possible. She is saying, "I love you so much, I could not bear the pain of losing you." And he is saying, "I love you so much, I shall bear it for you." That is the weight of real love. It is the willingness to be the one left standing in the silence so the person you love never has to know what it feels like to be alone. It is the debt paid in tears, and it is the highest honor a human being can claim. Loss is what gives everything meaning. If we were to never lose anything, then nothing would be appreciated. If the sun never set, we'd eventually stop looking at the sky. If people never died, we'd never stop to tell them how much they mattered. We would take every second for granted. There is something profoundly beautiful in the suffocation of loss, the realization that it is over, and every memory of this thing or person is all you have left. People think of nostalgia as a warm, fuzzy feeling of the good old days, but nostalgia is really just a loss if you think about it. It's a moment in time that we can never get back. If you were to relive the same moment right now, with the same people, in the same place, it wouldn't be the same because you are no longer the same person you were when you first lived it. Without that loss, nothing is genuine. The reason nostalgia is so strong is because we can't have it back, and that is the beautiful part of the tragedy. There's something pretty in the things we can't have, the people we've lost along the way, the parts of us that are so far away now. Not pretty because they are appetizing, but beautiful because it's the real, raw, unfiltered version of life. To lose is to feel. If life was just a series of wins and gaining possessions and collecting people like trophies, then life wouldn't be beautiful. It would be a hoard. Love the loss, love the pain, because that's the only thing that actually makes this life we walk real. That's the only thing that makes memorable memories in this life. When our time comes to accept the inevitability of our own losses, when we cease to exist, the beauty in the loss we've experienced in life will be the memories we skim through as we take our last breaths. The scary part is we never see the true beauty until it's gone, no matter how hard we try. We are blind to the miracle while we are inside of it. We only appreciate the oxygen when we are drowning. I'm telling you to start breathing now. Appreciate the fragility. Appreciate the fact that your heart is a glass ornament in a world of concrete, and love it anyway. But we have to talk about how we love, because most of us are doing it wrong. There's a Turkish saying, if you truly love someone, you will love them twice. The first time, it's easy. You're drawn to their smile, their voice, the way their presence lights up a room. It's the honeymoon phase, the illusion of perfection. But then the illusion fades. You begin to notice the cracks, the scars they carry, the insecurities they hide, the shadows of their past, the ways they think differently from you, the ways they annoy you, the ways they fail you. It's no longer flawless. It's real. And if you can still love them then, without filters, without conditions, without the need for them to be your savior, that's not infatuation. That's love built on understanding. The kind of love that endures. The kind of love that deepens because it has survived the truth. Most people run when they see the cracks. They want the statue, not the human. But you can't love a statue. You can only love a human. And humans come with wreckage. When a person grows up feeling unseen, they learn to love by overgiving. This is a trap that many of the strongest people fall into. They pour into everyone else, hoping that one day, someone will finally see their empty cup and pour back into them. They become the caretaker, the fixer, the one who shows up, even when no one shows up for them. And the hardest part? Deep down, they're not trying to be strong. They're just waiting for someone to do for them what they've spent their whole life doing for everyone else. If this is you, you need to understand that you cannot buy love with service. You cannot earn visibility by making yourself a doormat. You have to realize that your overgiving is often a coping mechanism, a way to control the environment so you don't get hurt. But real love isn't a transaction. It's not about how much you can do for someone. It's about who you can be with someone. Stop fixing everyone else and start looking at the parts of you that are screaming for your own attention. This is the real legacy we leave behind. When you hear men talking about how they want kids to continue their bloodline, they're usually talking about ego and name. But Nizar Qabbani wrote it better. Give me a daughter with your stubborn heart, or even your temper. Give our children your dark, bright eyes, or your enchanted smile, so that even when we are gone, the world will find within them all the reasons I loved you. That is what we are really doing here. We are trying to leave a trace of the beauty we found in others. We are trying to ensure that the things we loved don't die with us. Love isn't about possession. It's about the transmission of light. It's about saying, I saw something incredible in you, and I'm going to spend my life making sure the world doesn't forget it. I know it's scary. When it's right, it's always scary. Whether it's the right person, the right job, the right opportunity, or a right path for you, it will shake up your foundation. It will hold a mirror back to yourself, showing you the parts of yourself which aren't ready to finally get going. It screams in front of you the words, are you ready for this yet? And the answer is yes. Because you asked for this. Because you waited for this for so long. Now that it's in front of you, it scares you because you see the vision becoming a reality. And the reality has consequences. Reality involves the possibility of failure, but it always works out. It always does. The fear is just your soul expanding to fit the new size of your life. If you aren't afraid, you aren't growing. If you aren't trembling, you're standing still. There comes a point where you might come to terms with the fact that maybe the safest way to live is alone. You start to realize you're getting older, and finding someone real to build a life with just isn't likely in a world that feels so hollow. Most people are either too into themselves, still chasing the streets, stuck on an ex, trapped in their past, or they come into your life just enough to confuse you. They want you, but not enough to choose you, and still won't let you go. We're living in a time where being toxic is normalized, where situationships are the standard, and it's depressing to admit that being single might be the only way to truly protect your peace and mental health. Relationships today feel nearly impossible. So many people lack honesty, consistency, and real communication. And the worst part is knowing exactly what you have to offer: a table full of loyalty, depth, and passion, but never finding someone who has a table worth bringing it to. But even in that solitude, don't let your heart turn to stone. Being alone to protect your peace is one thing. Being alone because you've given up on the world is another. Protect your peace, yes, but keep your window open. Healing will make you angry, and if it hasn't yet, you probably haven't gone deep enough. There is a rage that lives beneath survival, a rage that builds when you realize how much of your life was shaped by someone else's dysfunction, how much of your personality is a byproduct of having to survive chaos, how many of your choices were never really choices at all, just coping mechanisms disguised as decisions. And when you finally see it, when you feel it fully, it's not pretty. It's a violent awakening, but it's necessary. Because anger is clarity. Anger is the realization that you deserved better. Anger is boundaries forming in real time. Anger is the nervous system screaming, "I'm not safe yet." Let yourself feel it. It's not the end of healing. Sometimes it's the beginning. It is the fire that burns away the dead wood so that something new can grow. Do not apologize for your rage. Use it as fuel to build a life where you never have to survive like that again. You have to understand that the pain you feel isn't a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that you are functioning perfectly. If you didn't feel the loss, if you didn't feel the anger, if you didn't feel the fear, then you would be the machine we talked about earlier. The fact that you are suffering is proof of your humanity. It is proof that you are engaged with the world. We are taught to run from discomfort, but discomfort is where the truth lives. We are taught to seek happiness, but happiness is a fleeting emotion, a temporary state. Meaning, however, is permanent, and meaning is found in the struggle. It is found in the "I love you" that knows it will eventually end. It is found in the "I'm sorry" that seeks to repair the cracks. It is found in the decision to get out of bed when grief feels like a lead blanket. The world wants you to be balanced, but there is no balance in a life that matters. There is only intensity. There is only the decision to care so much that it hurts. People will tell you to guard your heart, to be chill, to not get too attached. Those people are already dead. They are the ones walking around in the safe grayness of life without consequences. But you need to lean into the suffocation of the loss. You need to look at the people you love and realize that they are temporary, and let that realization make you love them more fiercely. Don't look for the safe way out. Life is a high-stakes gamble with a 100% mortality rate. The point isn't to reach the end unscathed. The point is to arrive at the finish line completely used up, heart scarred, eyes wide, and a soul exhausted from having felt every single thing there was to feel. That is what it means to win. We fear the end because we haven't truly lived the beginning. We worry about the good old days because we are too afraid to make the present moment a memory worth losing. If you want a life that is beautiful, you have to accept that beauty and pain are the same thing. They are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. To lose is to feel, and to feel is to be real. If life was just wins and gaining possessions, it wouldn't be a story worth telling. It would be a manual. The only thing that makes this life memorable is the vulnerability required to lose it all. When you lose someone, you aren't just losing a person. You are losing a version of yourself that only existed in their presence. That is why it hurts so much. But that version of you isn't gone. It's etched into the fabric of the universe. So here's the kick. Stop waiting for life to be easy. Stop waiting for love to be safe. Stop waiting for the world to give you a reason to feel. You are the reason. The pain, the grief, the rage, and the love. These are the colors you use to paint your life. Without them, you are just a blank canvas waiting for a brush that will never come. Love the loss because it means you had something. Love the grief because it means you were brave enough to care. And when you finally take that last breath, let the memories of the people you loved and the things you lost be the masterpiece you leave behind. Don't die with a clean heart. Die with a heart that is covered in scars, because those scars are the only thing that prove you were actually here. You have to realize that every time you choose to love, you are performing an act of rebellion. In a world that is cold, indifferent, and increasingly digital, choosing to feel something for another person is the most radical thing you can do. It is the middle finger to the void. It is saying, I know I will lose, but I'm going to play the game anyway. That is true strength. Not the strength of the person who feels nothing, but the strength of the person who feels everything and still chooses to show up. The person who has been burned and still offers their hand. The person who has been ghosted and still believes in connection. The person who has been broken and still finds the beauty in the shards. We are all just walking each other home, and the path is rocky, and the weather is unpredictable, and we are all carrying heavy bags. But the walk is the point, the conversations we have along the way, the hands we hold, the tears we share. That is the substance of life. Don't try to speed up the walk. Don't try to find a shortcut that avoids the hills. The hills are where the views are. The pain is where the growth is. The loss is where the love is proven. If you are grieving right now, I want you to look at that grief and say, thank you. Thank you for showing me that I am capable of loving something so much that its absence feels like a physical wound. Thank you for reminding me that I am alive. You've been playing it safe for too long, trying to protect a heart that was designed to be used, battered, and shared. If you're ready to stop hiding behind your boundaries and start building something that actually matters, then stop looking for a painless way to exist. There isn't one. There's only the choice between a life of empty safety or a life of meaningful wreckage. Choose the wreckage. Choose the love that scares you. Choose the path that makes you question everything. Because in the end, the only thing you take with you are the memories of the times you were brave enough to let the world break you open. That is the only thing that is real. That is the only thing that is beautiful. Think about the sheer audacity of existing in a universe this vast and this indifferent, and still choosing to care. That is the ultimate human achievement. To feel grief in a world that wants you to be a consumer. To feel love in a world that wants you to be a competitor. To feel rage in a world that wants you to be compliant. You are a revolutionary every time you allow yourself to be hurt by the loss of something beautiful. So don't hide your tears, and don't hide your scars. They are your medals of honor. They are the proof that you didn't just exist. You lived. You didn't just survive. You thrived in the fire. When you look back at your life, you won't remember the days you played it safe. You won't remember the nights you stayed home to protect your heart. You will remember the times you jumped without a parachute. You will remember the person who broke your heart and made you realize how big it actually was. You will remember the loss that felt like it would kill you, but only made you stronger. You will remember the anger that finally taught you to say no. These are the pillars of your character. These are the moments that make you, you. Don't let the toxicity of the modern world convince you that being unbothered is a goal. Being unbothered is just another word for being numb. I want you to be bothered. I want you to be moved. I want you to be so deeply connected to the world around you that every loss feels like a seismic shift, because that means you are living at full volume. That means you are experiencing the real, raw, unfiltered version of life. That is the beauty in the loss. That is the beauty in the love. They are inseparable. They are the breath and the exhale of the soul. And as you move forward from this video, I want you to carry that Turkish proverb with you. Love them twice. Love the light, and then love the dark. Love the easy parts, and then love the hard parts, because that second love is the only one that can actually save you. It's the only one that is real enough to hold on to when the world starts to shake, and when it's right, and it scares you, and it holds that mirror up to your soul. Don't look away. Look directly into it. See the parts of yourself that aren't ready, and then get ready, because you asked for this. You waited for this, and it's finally here. I've given you the perspective, but only you can decide to stop being afraid of your own heart. With this video coming to a close, I just wanted to say one more thing. One thing that I hope sticks with you. This part of your story isn't just here to fill the chapter. It's here to help you write a new one. A new chapter with a better understanding of the beauty of life and love. This is the part of the story where you finally start coming home to the real you, the one you lost along the way. Thank you for watching.